How's it going? I hope you're doing as good as I'm doing right now, whenever you're trying to watch this. Everything was pretty all right today. I felt okay, but what is super unfortunate is overthinking what you're doing. Because anybody knows that the more you overthink it, the less capable you're going to be at performing the lifts, whether it comes to the strength, the form, the core, whatever. It fucks you up, and it's very annoying because sometimes it puts you on a bit of a losing streak in your sets that's hard to break out of until you just kind of finish the workout and then come back the next time and do better because you've gotten to sit down and sleep on it. So physically, we can put that at, honestly, all things considered, I'll give it a 7 at least. I honestly felt really solid today. Nothing was actually hard strength-wise, which is nice. I think I just was going a bit too fast, because, again, overthinking it can make you rush, it can make you impatient, it can make you emotional and worry about all the wrong things. Mentally, I think it started worse, but I'll give it a 6.9 because one, funny number, but two, I think it's just slightly lagging behind physical because I think like every time I get to come up with an idea to talk with, to my phone, to myself, to you guys, it does make me feel a good bit better. That's kind of why I do it. It's therapeutic. It makes me more positive about the outcomes regardless of what happens. But anyway, just to get into it, I really, it's so important to call this out early in your lifting career, whatever type of lifting you're doing. Overthinking your lifts, it's an impediment. Like, it will just destroy you. Because what happened to me, at least, which I think also happens to most people, is how you get into overthinking it is not so much that of like you start enjoying it less or you start having more stresses in the outside world. It's more like you start getting to a point where you're becoming more committed every day. And when you get to a certain level of like full-time commitment, like I know for me when I full-time committed to it and like I was like, I want to do this forever type of shit, I recorded every set, no matter what, every goddamn set. I was just sitting there like with my warm-ups, my bar work, everything. So I was like, I gotta fucking hyperanalyze everything. And this, it's good to a point, and it's a very finite point, because record everything. I think it's a very positive thing. It will make you see visibly where you might want to be working on your lifts, because it's one thing to call it out, or like if you're with a coach, they're going to be like, stay in your midfoot, or like don't jump forward, and you're like, I didn't know I was doing that. You're going to be like, I was jumping forward, and that one felt great. Because when you have a slight inefficiency in the lift that you've been doing for so long, it's so hard to break that habit because those lifts feel normal to you. And so, at least with me, when I started like hyper-analyzing everything, it literally started making the workouts not fun anymore. It became a job. Because instead of going into the workouts being like, I can't wait to lift and just work on myself and see what numbers I can put up, I was like, man, I wonder if I'm going to be as shit as I was last time. Because when you overthink your form or how much strength you think you have or whatever, that it just makes you, it gives you a negative expectation, I think. And I'm all about not having expectations in the gym. But at least like you can even call it a hope because you just want to do better. It can still make it stem from a negative mindset because, say you fail a weight that you're super hyped for, like if you're trying to PR or whatever, and you go up and you fail it. So many people, I think this is like the far majority. I do it sometimes too. I'm not the fucking savior behind this shit, but you'll fail that weight and you'll be so hyped to make it that when you miss it, all you're gonna think about when you go in for that second attempt is how you failed it. And you're just going to think, man, I wonder like why that happened. I hope I don't fail as bad as I did last time. Instead of thinking, okay, what do I need to do to make this a more positive lift? You know, so many people just go into it being like, okay, well, that sucked so much. I'm just gonna hopefully not die and I'm just gonna throw it as hard as I can because I don't want to do as bad as I did last time. Because I know, like, it's hard to not think that way. Like, when you fail at what you're really excited for, you're gonna be upset. But you gotta, like, let it be very minimal and very temporary. You get mad in the moment, walk away, breathe, think about it, and be like, okay, when I think about it, I may have jumped forward a little bit, or like I may have just been on my toes, or like something that's like something that I love doing. Like, my favorite kind of failure is, like, especially on the snatch, when it goes behind your head and you miss it backward. That means that you've got enough strength for it. If you drop it forward, it's either technique or strength that's limiting you. But if you're able to throw it far behind your head and you miss it because you just didn't stick it hard enough, then you fucking got it. You know, there's no point in overthinking. You just got to get back on it and just full commit to that lockout. You know, sometimes it's so much more simpler than we make it out to be. Because again, coaching is great, and you should get coaching if that's if that helps you and you feel more confident that way. But so often you'll go to do some weights, and instead of instantly like trying to get you on a more positive mindset, you'll be called out for all of the insecurities in your lifting or all of the minor inconveniences that you may have. And so when you should be thinking of, oh, I just need to like really commit to this one, and then we can figure out form on the next one. Sorry, I keep running back and forth, but basically, just my whole point is that overthinking and hyperanalyzing is not going to work at heavyweight. Because when you're doing heavyweight, however you throw it is going to be the most basic of instincts. It's just going to be ooga booga caveman brain, throw that shit over my head and lock out as hard as I can. You can't be thinking about, oh, I got to stay on my midfoot. I got to push through my feet instead of pushing off my toes on the way up. I got to do all this other shit. When you think about form on your heaviest lifts, it's going to make you inefficient, you know, because you can't be thinking about it. It's a split-second reaction and a lockout, you know. So overthinking, to the minimal sense and the positive sense, needs to be left for the warm-up sets. You know, whatever weights you're working up to your heavy sets on, just don't move up until you feel like you've hit a solid rep at whatever weight you do. Start at the bar. I do the bar 20. Like if today was snatch day, so this is just my example. Started at the bar, went to the 25s, the 45s, and then my working set. And typically, I'd even do one more warm-up before my working set. It was just a lot lighter today. But my whole point is those warm-up sets, because they are so easy to throw around, you don't think about your form. You just do it, and it might be a perfect rep, or it might be a really inefficient rep that you just didn't think about because it's lighter weight. And, you know, and people don't think about giving in 100% effort and accuracy on their warm-up lifts a lot. So I guess just to kind of make it come full circle a little bit, leave your heavyweights alone. You know, those are literally the whole point of this fucking sport. That is where the passion comes from. Now, I'm not one to say lift heavy all the time because lifting heavy is fun. I'm saying that when you build up those lighter days and the volume over the course of several weeks, and then you get to that heavy day that you've been really like itching for, and like finally you're there and you want to do your absolute best, leave the overanalyzing, the overthinking, just the harshness, the negativeness, leave it all at the door. You're going in to throw a massive fucking weight over your head, even on your warm-up weights. I think on your heavy days, don't even think about it. Like if it's on a normal working day, just on your warm-up sets up to your working sets, that's when you should be overanalyzing a little bit. And then on your working sets, you can try to look at what you might want to fix, like one little thing at a time, but don't go too crazy on it. Because like I did that today, and my first set I was really unhappy with because I literally just didn't think about the warm-ups. I was really tired, and again, I talked about this a couple times, but while we're traveling, it just feels weird. I don't know anybody at my gym, so I'm just alone with my thoughts, which is fine, but I love the gym homies anyway. And so my warm-ups probably looked kind of goofy. I was probably jumping forward a little bit, even though they felt fine, because I don't normally record my warm-up sets. And so when I got to that first working set, I was like, man, I jumped forward a lot. Let's try to work on that. And even though I still think I was jumping forward just a slight bit, I think I at least got really close to the point where I was just pushing off my feet and then landing back on the ground as fast as I could, rather than pushing off my toes and pushing forward into it when I was catching my snatches. And again, of course there can always be better progress. That's always going to be the case, no matter how perfect you think you do it. So all I got to do now is I did the workout, I committed to everything, I hit all my reps, I finished all my sets. So now I get to chill out tonight, enjoy myself. Especially when you leave the gym, that is also when you should just throw the overanalyzing away. There's no point in thinking about it if you're not in the gym. So if you left off on a bad note, drop it completely. Go fucking sleep on it. And the next time you come in, because you waited for it, that will be what, like, that short-term obsession will drive for that long-term passion when you finally hit that really good rep that brings it all full circle. It brings back the joy and the passion and the lifts again, makes you want to do more. So just, I'm going to go home, chill out, enjoy myself, because you gotta make sure you're happy doing your daily life, so that when you get into your passions, regardless of if it's lifting or not, that when you go back into those passions, you don't make it work. I'm not going to go back tomorrow and or even on my next snatch day in 2 days and be like, okay, well, I got to really think about this and go hard on this, and I'm not going to do anything until the form is perfect. I'm just going to do it like I normally do it, but try to be slightly more self-aware of the fact that I could make those mistakes. And if I don't, then I didn't have to think about it at all. It might have just been a fluke today, because I've had really good form recently. And so, again, there's so many variables, like it's whether your eating cycle, your sleeping cycle, going to the gym too late, doing too much stuff in the day that burns you out, whatever. Anything can make it a fluke. So if you went through the workout and you want to work on it, at least save it for the warm-up sets when you get there, and that's when you can really hone in on it. And a lot of people will say just don't move up and wait until you feel like you did a pretty solid rep for whatever your standard of good is, and then do your working sets. Don't think about it too much, and then especially on those heavy days, just literally ooga booga caveman brain. Turn everything off, turn the volume as high as it can go on your music, jam out, throw it as hard as you can, because the more you think, the more you're going to fail, and then you're going to get mad at yourself, and then it's going to not feel passionate anymore. And the whole point of this entire sport, or any passion in your life, is to be passionate. And when you stop being passionate and you start overanalyzing and overthinking, it becomes the obligational job. And that fucking sucks. So, anyway, I'm going to go eat me some Chick-fil-A and just enjoy myself, So, it is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt and enjoy your day regardless, Bye.